Simple. Fun. And powerful. This is the Wishful Ignorance build, the best melee build for Titans in Edge of Fate. Edge of Fate brought a lot of changes to our builds, how they work, and also updated some exotics. Today, I'm going to show you a build that encompasses everything that was updated by Edge of Fate to bring you a really simple, a really fun, and a really powerful build that you can use in your Titan. First off, let's look under the hood to see what we're running to make this build so potent. So the whole centrepiece of the build is Wishful Ignorance, our exotic. Wish Dragon's Talons gain an additional Frenzied Blade charge. Frenzied Blade and Fletchette Storm briefly increase their damage with each strike. So for Frenzied Blades this goes up to 50%, for Fletchette Storm it goes up to 200%. Pulses from your Banner of War return melee energy based on the number of allies healed. So especially in a free or a raid setting, your melee energy will generate a lot, and also it ties into our artifact perks as well. So having a look under the hood, Blade Fury, obviously your super. Towering Barricade, just your preference here, same for jump. Frenzy Blade is the only option. Grapple, Grapple's the best grenade. Also easy access to Banner of War if you grapple grenade melee punch into a bunch of ads. Banner of War, get melee kills, a radius appears above you, you heal periodically, it goes from ×1 to ×4, and also your melee damage is increased while Banner of War is active. Fletchette Storm, slide, spam your melee, the whole focus of the build, unravelling projectiles, so ads that are killed by it or ads that are damaged by it will become unravelled. Fragments, dealing damage generates grenade energy. I just like the grapple grenade, so why not have it more often? Thread of Transmutation, while you have Woven Mail, Weapon and Final Blows create a tangle. Tangles are a big part of the engine to get as much melee energy as possible. Thread of Warding, picking up an orb of power grants Woven Mail. This ties into the artifact mod that when you have Woven Mail, you get grenade energy. And Thread of Fury, damaging targets with a tangle grants melee energy. So you can see, pick up orb of power to get Woven Mail, get weapon kills with Monte Carlo to create tangles, use those tangles to throw into enemies to get more melee energy. For the artifact, first two columns are whatever, just make sure you put on tightly woven, as that will allow your grapple grenade up more often. Reciprocal draw, I've just got this on because I like using a sidearm. Refresh threads, pick up an elemental pickup matching your subclass element or tangle while you have a strand super, crits energy to your least charged ability. So 9 times out of 10 this will be on melee, or it will be a grenade. And the amount of tangles that we're generating, we'll be generating a lot of grenade and melee energy with this. Fairy Blast, done a strangle with strand damage increases the radius of the explosion. So if you destroy a tangle with another tangle, it's going to create a big boom. Shoulder to shoulder, 25% damage resist when you're shooting enemies beside other allies. So I think it's 15 metres. So you'll be using Monte Carlo quite a bit to get your melee energy back. So if you're within 15 metres of your allies, you'll get a 25% damage resist as well, which stacks on top of Woven Mail's 45%. Elemental Coalescence, defeating targets has a chance to create an elemental pickup. More tangles, more melee energy, more Fletchette Storms. Shield Crush, while you have Woven Mail or Avoid Overshield, your melee recharges faster. Amplified or Radiant grenade recharges faster, and they both deal more damage. So that's a given for a melee build. And also, when I have it unlocked, use Tangled Web. Create a tangle by defeating a strand debuff target, suspends nearby combatants. So what will happen is when you use Fletchette Storm and you kill an ad with it, they will automatically be unravelled, which will create a tangle. Because you're killing an enemy with strand damage that creates a tangle, you will launch a wave of suspension around the combatants. So to ensure that we've got a Fletchette Storm up as often as possible, our exotic weapon of choice is going to be Monte Carlo. Monte Carlo's exotic perk, Markov Chain, will give you a 13% damage boost per stack. You gain 1 stack for killing an ad with it, or you gain the maximum of 5 stacks from killing an enemy with a melee ability. It also generates 2% melee energy on hit, and has a 25% chance to refresh a melee charge when you kill an enemy with it. Also with the catalyst, if you press square, it times 5 stacks of Markov chain. You'll lock in a bayonet, which you can then use, and is also buffed by Banner of War. It hits really hard, and is good for cleaning out tanking enemies if you've not got Fletchette Storm available. Also, it just looks class. I mean, it's got a bloody chainsaw under it for a bayonet. 10 out of 10 design. Monte Carlo does so much for this build. You will be at a disadvantage if you don't run it, but if you don't want to use Monte Carlo, you can use a pugilist weapon, but don't expect to have as much Fletchette Storm uptime than you would with it. Just quickly, if you could show some love in the video through likes, comments, or even subscribe if you like what I do, I would greatly appreciate it. I want a big push just now at 1,000 subscribers, so anything that you can do to help me out with that would be extremely nice of you. Anyway, back to the video. Love you lots. Cheers. So to go over the finer points of the build, the armour set that you want to run with this is Tech Sec. Now, the Tech Sec bonuses really buff your kinetic weapon, and because we'll be using Monte Carlo the most out of all our weapons, it really benefits Monte Carlo. So what Tech Sec does is, for 2 pieces, you deal significantly more damage to combatant shields, constructs, etc. Then for 4 pieces, when you defeat a major enemy or break a combatant shield with a kinetic weapon, they will generate a disorienting wave. Now this is about the same size as kinetic tremors, and all ads in the vicinity will become disorientated. So using a Tech Sec armour set just adds a degree of crowd control to Monte Carlo's arsenal, making it an even better weapon. For your secondary and your heavy, it's completely up to you. We'll not get a lot of weapons stat in this build, so special ammo can be a bit sparse. I like using a sidearm for the typical draw, and also an LMG, because our main damage, our main boss dealing damage is through Fletchette Storm, so we won't need a lot of other damage in the build. You can use a 1-2 punch shotgun if you want as well, but I would rather use Fletchette Storm than Frenzied Blade. But the main focus of the build is Monte Carlo and getting Fletchette Storm as quickly as possible and using it, so the other weapons are really your choice. For your stats, you're wanting as high melee as possible, as close to 200 as you can, because this will give up to 40% of a damage boost to your melee ability damage. So a good archetype to go for would be Brawler, but also we want Super as well, because after using Blade Fury, we will restore all charges of our melee ability. So if you use your Super, you'll automatically have another full set of Fletchette Storms as well. So for that, we want Paragon. So if we can get a mix, ideally this is what I'm currently trying to chase, a mix of Brawler and Paragon Tech Sec armour to get your melee as high as possible, but also your Super as high as possible. And then for your tertiary stat, as they call it, or the third stat, health, because we'll be generating orbs from our melee, then when we kill somebody with our melee, on top of Banner of War, we'll also pick up an Orb of Power, which will give us a health bump. For your mods, I would suggest equipping as many heavy-handed as you can. This ensures that we're constantly generating Orbs of Power. In your helmet, put on a Kinetic Siphon, along with hands-on to generate super energy on melee kills. On your legs, put on Kinetic Surges to help Monte Carlo's damage out, and then on your class ability, put on 2-time dilation to make sure this lasts for 15 seconds on orb pickup. Also, I like to bolster these mods with anything that will generate more melee ability energy. So things like gain melee ability energy on orb pickup, or using your class ability near enemies generates melee energy as well. All of these things just fuel a Fletchette Storm engine. Everything we've put on will constantly generate as much melee ability as possible, making our uptime on Fletchette Storm extremely high. Now, just before I end the video, I just want to show you a couple of damage tests that I did, and it will show you exactly how much damage this actually does. So that was over 2,500 DPS and over 8,800 damage dealt from one Fletchette Storm. Now to check out Synthocept's Consecration on Prismatic. Fletchette Storm does double Consecration slams. Finally, just a full round of a weapon damage rotation. Fletchette Storm takes about 4 seconds, and so does a full weapon damage rotation. So let's have a look. Over double the damage and DPS. So, I've just shown you how powerful Fletchette Storm is as well, and with the build that I've gave you, you'll have it up all the time. The gameplay loop is extremely simple. Use Monte Carlo, use your tangles, pick up orbs, generate as much Fletchette Storm as you can, use Fletchette Storm as often as you like. For big bosses, wait till you have full charges. And that's it. And there's just something as well so fun about it. Flying up there and just swinging your arms like mad, flinging out hundreds of tiny blades doing a lot of damage. It's great. Anyway, that's all for the video. Thanks very much for checking out. I appreciate your time as always. If you found the video useful, please feel free to like and leave your comments down below. If you like what I do, feel free to subscribe. I'll be making more Destiny 2 content as the weeks go on. A lot of stuff to talk about, a lot of stuff to cover for Edge of Fate, so stay tuned, I've got a lot more coming. Thanks again guys, I'll see you soon for more Destiny 2 content. All the best, cheers.